A forestry company with close links to New Zealand First planned to apply for up to $95 million under the 1 Billion Trees program, which is overseen by New Zealand First Minister Shane Jones. The directors of the company, New Zealand Future Forest Products, include Brian Henry, Winston Peters' lawyer and New Zealand First Judicial Officer, Mr Henry's son David Henry, and Mr Peters' partner Jan Trotman. RNZ reported today that the company made an application for at least $1 million in funding from the Provincial Growth Fund, which is also overseen by Mr Jones. They spent 6 months discussing it with officials before it was finally knocked back by Labour ministers at a meeting Mr Jones excused himself from. Now, RNZ can reveal the details of the company's proposal to Te Uru Rakau, or Forestry New Zealand, for the government to join them in a scheme to convert large amounts of farmland to forestry. Guy Espiner and Kate Newton have been looking into this, and Kate Newton filed this report.
The issue of converting farmland to forestry has been sensitive for this government, and just yesterday a large protest by farmers was held at Parliament, where they exchanged verbal blows with Forestry and Regional Development Minister Shane Jones.
Welcome, farmers! Welcome!
Afterwards, Mr Jones said the protesters had over-egged the issue of forestry conversions. But just a few months ago, officials from Te Uru Rakau, or Forestry New Zealand, met with David Henry, one of the directors of Future Forest Products, to discuss the company's proposal to partner with the government to buy what it described as marginal livestock farms in the Bay of Plenty, East Cape and Northland. It then proposed to use up to $95 million of 1 Billion Trees funding to convert those farms to forestry, about 20% of the total fund. The company was rebuffed, and Mr Jones says he never saw either the Te Uru Rakau proposal or the company's application to the Provincial Growth Fund.
I never actually had anything to do with either of these proposals. They would have been at the level of the officials. When I became a minister, the Cabinet Office asked me to identify personalities, and one that I identified was Mr Brian Henry.
But although Mr Jones wasn't involved, emails released to RNZ show the bid was taken seriously enough by forestry officials for David Henry to secure a personal meeting with the Deputy Director General, Julie Collins, on the 13th of June. The Director of Forest Developments, Grants and Partnerships, Damien Dyack, also attended. Several weeks later, Mr Henry emailed them both a document sketching out the proposal before meeting Mr Dyack again on the 22nd of August, where the proposal was knocked back as being unsuitable for the Billion Trees scheme. The document he sent to officials says the company was interested in buying marginal farmland, but later on talks about planting pines on medium to rolling hill country. Wairoa Mayor and farmer Craig Little, who's been critical of forestry conversions, says the two are not the same.
Rolling to mid-hill would be probably a perfect farm, and because obviously flat land, you're going to put something else rather than stock on there, like horticultural or cropping or whatever. But rolling to mid is just beautiful country. You can get easy access over it. So yeah, I'm not sure what they're talking about.
National Party Regional Development spokesman Chris Bishop reiterated his call for the Auditor-General to investigate Future Forest Products' dealings with officials.
I think everything about this is incredibly opaque and incredibly murky, and it really does deserve serious Auditor-General scrutiny. That's what the Auditor-General exists for.
David Henry has not responded to RNZ's email requests for comment. His father and fellow director Brian Henry has also declined to comment, as has Jan Trotman, who is Winston Peters' partner and was made a director of the company a few days after the bid failed. Mō te hōtaka o te ahiahi, ko Kate Newton tēnei.